You'll quit moving it.
I'll try and quit
Hey,
moving.
you take care of yourself.
And when I shot, you could see I was a little black skeleton kid in white bridges on the back.
Oh, my God, that had to be fun.
Ready? Hold on, let me try and fix that.
You're gonna have to beat that.
It's hard.
You probably turned it
It's hard. So
Sound like it was in a tin can, didn't it?
We'll try it now. How's this? Ready to go, Rick? All right. I'd like to call this meeting of the Whitfield County Board of Commissioners for April 10th, 2023 to order. Please silent or mute your cell phone. All that are able, please stand, and our Commissioner Robbins will say our invocation followed by the pledge.
let us pray. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for all the opportunities you've given us. We just thank you for the blessings that you've bestowed upon us. Dear Father, we just thank you for the county of Whitfield County in Georgia. Dear Father, that we live and serve and work and play. Dear Father, all the benefits that we have. Now go with us and guide us as we deliberate tonight. Dear Father, make it orderly. And dear Father, let us remember Easter and the sacrifice you made for us. All these things I ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, may the record reflect we have 4 commissioners present and our quorum requirements are met. The commissioners were provided a copy of the agenda and the public approximately 6 days ago. There are 3 additions that were sent out on Friday, late additions. One on annexations from the city, a lease approval, and a county proclamation. Of course, if any commissioner has a problem with those, we won't proceed with those, but I would like to have a motion to add those 3 plus the agenda. Motion by Commissioner Robbins, is there a second?
With the addition.
With the additions, yes.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. There are just one new consent agenda item related to our budget amendments from the previous month's purchase agreements. The minutes were also sent out approximately 6 days ago. I did not see any corrections. Did anyone else see any corrections or changes to the minutes from last month?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. All right, we'll start with our employee recognition for the month of February. Brent Clark, if you're here, come forward. And your supervisor? Is he here? No.
Brent Clark is taking care of a road issue. I'm his supervisor.
I'll present it to you.
Award.
You don't want the award. You can take it too.
Got the award.
We can give him again. I'm glad he's out keeping our roads safe, so I can't complain about that.
Catch him next month.
Yeah, we'll do a double dip next month. All right, we have a public hearing for actually just 2. The second one there for the Quick Serve 4 has been removed. There was a issue with their application and the distance to a school. So they can get additional approvals and bring that back to us next month or whenever they're ready. But for right now, we'll just have the first one, the Dixie, the new Dixie Food Mart on South Dixie Highway. That one wasn't quite completed last month, but it has completed, passed the background check. There's no distance with schools or churches or anything with this one. So this is a public hearing. I declare it open. Anyone who would like to come up and speak in favor of this alcohol application? Anyone like to speak against it? Going once? All right, I will close the public hearing. All right, this is our chance for each commissioner to give a quick report from the last month. And I always start with our mission to provide quality service at the cost all our citizens can afford. That's our mission statement. And we'll start with an update that you may or may not have seen in the newspaper the last couple of days on our ballot initiative. This will be on the November ballot. It's normally a citywide ballot, so Tunnel Hill and the city of Dalton, Cohutta, others, but in this case, we're going to make it countywide because each voter will have a chance to approve a new homeowner exemptions for seniors. There's one for people that are 65 and older, and then once you turn 70, there's an additional enhanced exemption of $250,000. So that's the value of your home that will be exempt from the county M&O tax up to $250,000 for the valuation of your home, which is a little more than the median price of homes that are sold in Whitfield County. So on average, most seniors would not have to pay any M&O tax. And of course, the schools will have a separate agreement. They already have this exemption, but theirs will be increased to $250 just like ours. So it would be a matching exemption between the city and, between the county and the county schools, and then the same between the city and the city schools as well. So again, that's up to the voters to decide, and then that will be effective on next year's taxes, 2024 taxes, if it's approved in November. We had a brief discussion last month on the Riverbend, the playground that we're developing out there. We had some citizens got together, looked at several different designs, got input from all range of kids and activities and capabilities and disabilities and things like that. So this is our proposed picture of it. We didn't have the picture ready for last time, so I just wanted to share that. Of course, there'll be a special safe surface, with the soft, if they fall, or whether they fall off or fall down in the playground. So that's kind of a mandated statewide now. So we're working on that, but this is the look and the feel that was approved by the citizens and our rec department. So we'll be getting the quotes, and you'll see that be approved here shortly. And that's all I have. Commissioner Jones?
Don't have a whole lot other than, we had opening day at the Miracle Field Saturday. And if you hadn't ever went, you need to go when they're having games. They're having the spring leagues right now, so every Saturday morning if the weather's good for a few, I don't know exactly how many games, how many weekends, but it's several.
Yeah, 6 or 8.
At 9 o'clock on Saturdays, you ought to go and witness that. It's a real blessing.
Commissioner Thomas?
No report.
Thank you, Commissioner Robbins.
No report.
Move to our county administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, members of the public present here and watching at home on YouTube. I have 3 things I want to discuss briefly. The first is the opioid class action settlement. All of you know the situation with the scourge of opioids in this country over the last 10, 15 years. There was class actions fought, and our team, led by our county attorney, Robert Smalley, is working to maximize our share of those settlements by engaging counsel and being involved in the negotiations. We will be receiving payouts on the class action settlement in the coming years. We've already approved settlements with several pharmacies, including CVS, Walgreens, and we are in communication with the Attorney General, who's overseeing that for the state of Georgia. Some of the money will be coming back to us through the Northwest Georgia area via district committee to be formed, and we will be nominating our Board of Health representative, Mr. Thomas, to serve on that. These funds are not for any use. They're very specific, so it's likely that we will place them into a separate account and use them for things related to substance abuse. I know one of the things that's been talked about, and this is just informal, it's not, the Board of Commissioners would have to take formal action, but perhaps funding substance abuse counselors. As we all know, throughout our community, we have a number of people who are suffering from substance abuse, and it not only hurts them individually, but our community as a whole. The second thing I want to talk about is a little bit more pleasant, is Park Day 2023, and that is on Saturday, April 15th this year. There's going to be a variety of things. The one I really want to emphasize is what's going on at our new Rocky Face Ridge Park. Activities will begin, we'll be setting up about 10 a.m. Bob Jenkins, local historian, will be providing some information about the history there at the park, site of 2 Civil War battles. There will be a food truck. I don't know which one it will be, but that will be arriving about noon for people who want to eat lunch. There will be a scavenger hunt hosted by SORBA, which is the Southeast Regional Bicycle Association. Do I have that right? I think. Anyway, it's the bicyclist. They'll be hosting a scavenger hunt. We will, from 2:30 to 5, we'll be cleaning up the park with volunteer labor. I know that the Boy Scouts are going to be heavily involved in that. At 5, Bob will have a second program on the history of the park. And at 6 o'clock, SORBA, the Southeast Bicycle folks, will be having a sunset bike ride, which I'm sure will be spectacular there as well. I also want to give a shout out to, although the county will not be handling this, the Prater's Mill Historic Site is actually is owned by Whitfield County. They will have volunteers there for cleanup of that site. And I also want to mention that the Confederate Cemetery at the city's West Hill Cemetery, there will be volunteers there as well doing cleanup. The third thing I wanted to talk about was the Comprehensive Plan Committee. That first meeting will be held on April 20th at 6 p.m. at the Mac Gaston Center here in Dalton. Just speaking generally, now this won't all happen the first meeting, but just to kind of give a brief overview of what will be happening over the next couple of months. The committee will be looking at the previous comprehensive plan. They'll be crunching some numbers such as population changes, work commuting patterns, to determine where we need to focus to improve the county as well as the managed growth that we're experiencing. There will be meetings tailored to specific subject matters, particularly future development and transportation. There will also be a survey that will be distributed to the public to ensure the direction of the plan is in line with the priorities of citizens. My guess is most of those responses will be electronically online, but there will also be paper copies for those who don't want to do that. There will be an open house to showcase the updated plan and various maps. And I also want to note that unlike a lot of other Georgia local governments, our Comprehensive Plan Committee is very diverse in that it is not dominated by elected officials or government officials, but people in the community. And I'm confident that they'll come up with a good plan for the next 5 years to make Whitfield County an even bigger and better place. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, now Mr. Garvin for our finance report.
Through February, our two main general fund revenue sources are a net 4% higher than through February, the same time last year. Our year-to-date revenue is about 7.5% greater than what we had projected through February, while our expenditures for the general fund are coming in at about 2.25% less than budgeted through this time frame. So green is good. We're doing well so far.
Even a down green is good. I fixed that from
Yeah.
last time.
So here we see graphically the 2023 actual in blue versus the projected in orange. We were just discussing that that's a little bit higher versus the 22 actual. That's a $1.1 million difference, and almost $1 million of that is due to 3 drivers. The Q-Cells building permit for their expansion was $414,000, which came in February. The Commission on Tax Collections we discussed last month, $385,000. It's the collections fees we had discussed, and due to the later levy, much more of that was trailing and came in January and February. And $156,000-ish of that is investment income. The interest rates we all know have skyrocketed. We have a lot of money this early in the year that we've got invested that's making the best return in a long, long time. And then this is graphically again on our expenditures. Mainly the difference versus last year is inflationary costs, of course, salaries and benefits increases. One that's not individually significant but adds to that, it was the library funding coming in under the general fund versus the special service district. Through February, that's only 100,000, but it's 600 grand over the course of the year. And then this is how we arrive at the through February, the surplus versus what we've budgeted thus far there in green of 647,000. Our revenue was better, as we've already discussed, and we kept our expenditures under. So you get the sum of those two positive variances. So we do this every year. We speak of what is our projected, if nothing were to change, ending fund balance through February of 33.3 million. Extremely healthy as of now, but the actual, of course, is beginning to drop. So versus that 33.3, we've drawn down on property tax levies that major infusion of cash at the end of each year that we won't see again until November, December, and we're at 31 million actual. And so SPLOST, this is reporting through February. We have March receipts with April's receipts, which will reflect March activity, which will come at the end of this month. I will fund debt service and will complete the debt service requirements for this year. The payment of principal and the second interest payment will occur in October, but we will again begin receiving or having available PAYGO SPLOST proceeds towards the remainder of those projects. And we've collected 52 million, and the bond debt service, as I say, is at 17.5, and it'll be, we'll set aside for the year, it'll be about almost 19 million.
Any questions for Mr. Garvin? Motion by Commissioner Jones to approve the finance report. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on 3-0 vote. Thank you. All right, this is our first chance for public comment. So any issues or questions or comments related to the agenda items? He reached out to us first, but I'll get to you.
Let's go, more than throw it away. You go right ahead.
Want to appreciate y'all's service to our community and these deputies here for service. We were here a couple of weeks ago to discuss the rezoning of the Whitfield County residential property on Key Street. I have submitted a petition from multiple residents on Key Street. They come up with the thing that there's commercial property surrounding that property which was used for a body shop, and that is in the city. This is still in the county. We're out there, we've got, Larry Engel told me that he talked to the guy and said he just wanted to use it to store his equipment, his cars, his trailers for his construction work. I personally don't see a reason for rezoning it C2 commercial unless he's got an alternate agenda on his mind that will come into play. I've talked to Mr. Robbins. He said the only thing he could do is use it for repairing vehicles. He couldn't make anything or produce anything. The guy has cleaned the place up. It looks a whole lot better. But we've been out there, me and my wife, she's been out there 70 year. I've been out there 52 year. At last meeting, we had several people that wanted to be here that didn't get to speak. And I just want you to take in consideration when you vote on it, that this has been a residential area for years. And if he just wants to store vehicles in there, I store a vehicle in my garage, it's the same situation. Use it as a garage, as storage. That I just want to let y'all think about that and appreciate your service.
Can you just give me your name and address just for the record?
Gary Overby. We live at 212 Key Street. We've got others down here that live right across the street. And I had mentioned before the parking, if he used it for anything else, you couldn't park a car straight in the front of the building without being in a road. And we've already got enough problems with the commercial property at Murray Avenue and Key Street, having parties and blocking both sides of the road, which I have on multiple occasions called the law enforcement. They speak to them, They move them next Saturday or Sunday night, they're right back out there. It's just, and we've got more traffic through there than we've ever had. And if it goes in for something commercial other than repairing a vehicle, it would just be a nuisance to Key Street.
And you already turned in your petition to our
She's
clerk,
already
county
got the
clerk.
petition, and there's a letter or two. Would like for y'all to review the petition, the names and the letters that's on it. If you can, you may not be able to before you vote on it. And I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Alt?
I'm sorry, my voice is going. I just had a question on the new JCP update. Since we're going to all the trouble to staff it, to work on it, to fix it, are we going to follow it better than the one we already have? Because we certainly have not followed that one very well. Thank you.
Any other comments on agenda items? If you have a general comment on any topic, you can talk to us at the end. There'll be another time. But is there anyone who would like to speak?
He
Some
says good
translations,
afternoon.
good.
He doesn't, he's not fluent in English, so I'll be translating for him. This is Jose Redes.
Jorge Ruedas.
Sorry, Jorge Redes.
Dígale
And
que lo siento mucho porque no pude venir las otras dos veces, entonces que si hay alguna manera de que pueda seguir con mi
Okay.
eso sí eso.
Okay, está bien. Okay, Jorge Redes is, would like to say to you guys that he does have a rezoning application that he did put in, I believe it was maybe possibly 2 months ago. But however, he was unable to make the meetings, the planning commission meetings, and he does say that he is very sorry that he was unable to make those meetings. And that if there's any way possible that he doesn't have to wait the whole year before it comes back to the planning commission. And he just wanted to just say that he's very sorry that he was unable to make those meetings.
That would be a Robert question.
Yeah, I was going to say, county attorney, do you
A
have
ver,
any
¿qué
options
dice la
to
abogada?
mandate it back to planning or anything like that?
It's not set out in the way that your ordinance reads is that if someone misses 2 consecutive planning commission meetings, then it's an automatic recommendation from the planning commission of denial. So the Board of Commissioners can consider the zoning on its merits if you want to.
But we don't have any input from
But
the
you don't have
staff
any input.
or anybody
You have
else
no
at
input.
that point, yeah. It may be fine, I have no idea.
The staff analysis did show a positive recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have the written staff
Okay,
analysis.
yeah, we just didn't have the discussion, that's true.
Right, so.
Okay.
Could we do like a hearing sort of? I mean, I think we need to have a hearing if you're gonna, you let neighbors know. I don't think you just need to let it just go by the,
It should have been
As far as
posted,
the neighbors are concerned,
posted.
it's dead
but they
until
didn't
they
get a
hear
chance to
it.
express
That's right.
themselves. That's the only thing that he
Yeah,
did.
there hasn't-
If there was, I don't know.
Right.
It was posted though, but I don't know
Yeah,
what,
but-
I don't know what their comments were, one way or the other, the public, I mean,
well, I don't either.
Yeah.
Was that whether, there was no comments because
they didn't.
There was no hearing.
they didn't
No.
hear it,
Yeah,
so,
that wouldn't be fair to, if they had a concern, or maybe they were for it, I have no idea.
yeah, I don't either.
Can we waive the 1-year period and make him go back? There's no really.
I mean, there's no provision for that.
Not from the planning commission, but we could do something,
I
I
see.
guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm falling back on Robert.
I can't think of anything.
I mean, your rules don't provide for
Exception.
an exception to the rule, as it stands right now, I'm sorry to say.
Okay. He
Tell them we
said,
don't have any leeway, unfortunately.
este tiempo diciendo que no. He said, thanks so much
Yeah.
for considering it.
Entonces tengo que esperar.
It might need to be changed.
Where, with a unanimous vote or something, we could send it back or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an overrule.
I mean, I don't know what would happen if you sent it back to the planning commission
Yeah.
at this point. I mean, I guess they would
they need to have a hearing on it
Need
for
to have a
sure.
hearing on it, so.
It'd be up to them, I guess, if they want to have a hearing on it.
Well, Commissioner Jones is correct. I mean,
It would have to be
people would have
reposted.
to have the opportunity to
Speak
speak
in
their
favor or against, yeah.
opposition or in favor of, so, and that would have to be passed on to us.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak on an agenda item? All right, we'll move into our published agenda. So this is the alcohol application. Again, the second one, their quick serve is not applicable, but the new Dixie's on South Dixie Highway is approved as far as the background check, and there was no public comment. Is there a motion to accept beverage license for the Dixie Food Mart? Motion by Commissioner Jones, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. We have several amendments. This is typical around March or April. We have to do the final cleanup of the 2022 budget. So these are all things that have been spent or received in the case of revenue already. No new expenditures or revenue, other than just recognizing some of the items such as our pension contribution. We have a very well-funded, I think 98 or 99% funded pension, which a lot of counties and other agencies would be jealous of that. So the net of this is the revenue is increased 4.4 over the budget, and the expenses go up 1.26 million. And then I mentioned the pension contribution, which was a double pension payment that we made. And the rest of the details by department are in the backup. Is there a motion to approve the 2022 year-end budget amendments?
Make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed? Passes on a 3-0 vote. We had one person from our comprehensive plan, Carlos Ramirez, that had to step down for family reasons, and Mrs. Manriquez, Mrs. Manriquez, I got it, also works at the same LAA Association, the Latin Latin American Association, and is willing to take, she's willing to take his place. So we just need to appoint her and remove him from the committee. Is there a motion to make that change to the Comprehensive Plan Committee before our first meeting?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. All right, we have our magistrate annual probation services contract. The majority of these fees are paid for by the person on probation, but this is to manage and supervise and collect those fees and make sure they go to counseling, things like that. Is there a motion to approve the alternative probation services contract?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. We had a very successful distribution of over 100 of the weather radios in March, and we're expecting 600 more. So we unfortunately did have to turn quite a few people away that waited in line, but never fear, as soon as the manufacturer has them, we will have them. But we do have to match 6% of that to the federal government. But thankfully, we can do that with in-kind services, so it's actually no cash out of pocket for those 600 radios for us or the citizens that we distribute them to. But I do need approval for the grant of purchasing those 600 weather radios.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins, second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on 3-0 vote. Our rec director couldn't be here. He's feeling a little under the weather today, but I did speak with him. This is for our west side, which is part of our 2020 SPLOST. So we finished Riverbend, as everyone knows, last year. We're, of course, expanding it with the park, or the playground, but we need to build the soccer fields on the west side as per the 2020 soccer agreement. So this is to start purchasing the bleachers. And he did have one addition that he's noticed since we built the FIFA soccer field, where dogs and soccer balls can get underneath the bleachers. And so this would also add $16,000 to enclose all of the bleachers. I think we can sit a couple thousand fans out there, actually, at that park, but having trouble with things getting caught underneath the bleachers there. So that's included in the west side.
So
and
I'm assuming the west side one is gonna.
automatically have it, yeah. That's best practice now to include that. So yes, the 2,000 or 266,000 for the west side has that. Just the 16,000 would be additional. He did say that's optional, but we've had some issues with some of the games and some of the people out there. So is there a motion to approve the west side park soccer bleachers and the enclosure panels for the Riverbend? Motion by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second by Commissioner Robbins? Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. All right, we have a petition. I think this is just to set the public hearing. We don't actually have to have a vote on this, correct?
We do have a vote.
We do need a vote to-
accept the petition.
But it's
and
not
just-
final. There's no action.
Right, and then set the public hearing for next meeting.
So the details are in the packet, and of course, we'll publish those on the website. Everyone will have 30 days to review that. If we should or should not close Old Mitchell Ridge Road, and there's 4 petitioners on that. So again, this is just to set the public hearing and make the final decision on May 8th.
Oh, these are the petitioners.
And our road department has looked at it or not? Have you looked at it yet? Steve, given your opinion on this? Usually, Public Works will review it, or is that you, Kent, that reviews it?
They probably haven't yet.
Oh,
This
not
is
yet, just in the
to accept
meantime? Okay, all right. Well, yeah, look forward to having the administration's opinion on that, if there's any issues or concerns with that. And I usually like to drive by it myself, just to take a look at it, because I don't know where it is. Motion to set the public hearing? Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. All right, now we get to the rezoning. I think it's probably, we've got 5, I think. Yep, 5 of them. We'll probably have to take them individually since there's a few complications here. The first one was the gentleman that spoke with us earlier. I don't think we have anything we can do, unfortunately, about that. So he will have to come back and see us next year to rezone that. Motion to.
Or when it's rescheduled, if there's an exception, right?
Well, right now, there's nothing to do right
There's nothing in
now,
our rules that allows an exception.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for. And
unless we change some rules.
yeah, which
It'd have to go
takes
through-
2 months.
Yeah, and it'd have to go through the cities.
Have to go
and
through the
all.
planning commission and the cities.
Yeah.
Not an easy change if we even wanted to change it. Motion to deny the first one by default. Motion by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. The next one is, I believe we all got emails where they have less than 5 acres. It is, so they cannot be general agriculture, so there are 5 now. They cannot rezone to GA because of the size, so the only option is M1 for the meat processing plant, which is probably needed on the south side, but I'm not sure that's the best location for it. They voted the 3-0 to deny the rezone on that based on complaints from the neighbors and that it wasn't GA.
Motion to accept the planning commission's recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins to confirm the denial. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on 3-0 vote. The next one is to rezone from M2 to R5. I don't recall anything controversial or anybody in opposition to that rezone. That was approved 3-0. A motion to approve Mitchell Kyle's request.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. And this is the Keith Street, where we have the petition against it, and several people did speak out also at the meeting about the traffic and the fact that the person, the owner can continue it as a body shop and repair shop without a rezone, but with a rezone, then you lose basically control of what it can be as long as it's any kind of commercial operation. They did approve it with 3 conditions, or we can deny it. So those are kind of the options, to deny it or approve it with those conditions. As the gentleman mentioned, they've done a lot of cleanup. I guess the conditions were to finish that cleanup process for the rezone, or if we deny it, then of course they're not obligated to do the cleanup.
Make a motion that we deny the request as presented, because I think we ought to keep it as R2. And he can continue his same business
Indefinitely, yep.
indefinitely with no interruptions. The C2 opens it up beyond the conditions that the Planning Commission has approved.
Right. It can only be a body shop, or if he stops it from being a body shop for a year, then he can't restart it even at that point. So we have a motion by Commissioner Robbins to deny the rezone. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Is there any further discussion?
So
He can continue just like it is.
His attorney confirmed he could continue. I asked him that question.
And
The conditions would not
so-
apply, yeah. So those would be optional.
Which attorney confirmed? I didn't confirm it.
At that meeting, I asked you if he can continue it as a body shop, even if we denied it, and you said he could continue as a body shop.
That's what the county said.
Oh.
We wanted the C2, because it used to be a carpet company. We just wanted, since it's always been commercial for 50 years, we wanted to get the zoning to match what its use has been for the last 50 plus years.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the denial, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay? Passes on 3-0 vote. The request of LNC Estates to rezone, I believe this was from R5 Chattanooga Road. Okay, yeah, this was I think there was an old warehouse that was on there that they want to begin using again, but it's currently as residential, and they want to start it as a commercial, 1 acre on Chattanooga Road. It was approved by the county, by the zoning committee. Is there a motion to approve the rezone? I don't remember if there was any complaints about that. I don't recall.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas to approve. Is there a second?
I wasn't there, so I didn't hear the.
Refresh my memory, what was there?
I think it was just a building or a warehouse, but it hadn't been used as a warehouse in quite a while. There was a sister and a brother, I think, that owned it, something like that.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. We've got the McGoy Chapel Road. There was an approval for some additional drainage and piping on that. So we need to approve the final change order of $21,600. That was discovered after they started installing that. So I think we're near the end of that, but we do have one change order for this project of $21,610.
That's not what I'm showing.
Oh, what do you have? Was there a typo?
I'm showing 15,295. No, that's the handrail. I'm sorry. I got.
Oh, yeah, we will get to that
I'm
one.
on the other one.
Is it the right amount? 21,610?
21,610, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the one that was backing water up on the.
On somebody else's property. Yep.
Okay,
Are we near finishing that, Kent? What's the ETA on? It's totally finished. Okay, I got to ride by there and take a look at it. But this is the change order for the runoff.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Jones to approve the final change order. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. And then we do have the handrail. part of the upper parking. We were, thankfully, the land was donated to us, and we built that out, so the traffic does flow a lot better at our tax commissioner's office for renewals and paying your property taxes and the like. 10,000 was previously approved by our county administrator, but it ended up being 15,295. So we need to approve the delta there above the county administrator's signature authority. Is there a motion to approve the change to the railing there for Bartow paving?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. And we've got a Public Works vehicle. This one is a used one from Ford of Dalton. I like buying used vehicles, so that's a positive for me. I don't always have to buy something brand new if it's not being used on a daily basis, so that's good. Looks like it's near the Blue Book value. Is there a motion to approve the Ford Explorer against the SPLOST 2020 for $39,000?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. We previously approved 25 vehicles on this 2020 SPLOST. This is for the light package, which is typical. It comes in later once the vehicles are almost produced and provided to us. And so there was several bids on that, with the lowest one being $251,682. Is there a motion to approve the light package and installation on the 2020 SPLOST?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. This is one of the items we added this evening earlier. Would you mind going over that for us, Mr. Civic?
Yes, many people don't know, and if you don't know, we're going to tell you, but every April is National County Government Month, and this year's theme is Counties Rise. So this is a proclamation to commemorate that event. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties serving more than 330 million Americans present essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities, and whereas counties fulfill a vast range of responsibilities and deliver services that touch nearly every aspect of our residents' lives, and whereas under the leadership of the National Association of Counties is highlighting how counties rise, demonstrating exemplary resiliency, inclusion, solvency, and empowerment, and whereas each year since 1991, the National Association of Counties has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services, and whereas Whitfield County takes pride in our responsibility to protect and enhance the health, welfare, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways, now therefore be it resolved that we, the Whitfield County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as National County Government Month.
Is there a motion to approve the proclamation? Motion by Commissioner Jones, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Second item is our Wells Fargo lease. It's up in June. We're looking at a 6-month extension.
County lease.
County lease of the famous bank building downtown.
We occupy 3 floors of that building. It's the county's own office.
We're gonna take it over. I like it.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve the county lease of $15,630 a month by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay? Passes on a 3-0 vote. Wells Fargo, says right there in the top there. All right, we've got a couple annexations from the city of Dalton. There was no land use for this one specific parcel on Frazier Drive. Motion to approve the annexation.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on 3-0 vote. Tunnel Hill, sorry, they're the second annexation for one parcel also. I can't tell what street that's on, but the parcel number there is in front of you with no land use. Is there a motion to approve the Tunnel Hill annexation?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on 3-0 vote. All right, now we can have public comments on any particular topic. Doesn't have to be on an agenda item. Mrs. Ott.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Back
need
for
to
more.
speak twice tonight. Have any of you all heard of the Limestone Valley Grant for help with septic tank problems?
Yes,
Yes?
yes.
Yeah, I got your email on it. But
What do you know? What can you tell me?
It was years ago that I know they have one every year, I think. I will get somebody to get in touch with you on that.
Okay.
More than I do.
Yeah, I had a lady call me, and she was very confused.
I think you may can go through the health department on that.
Well, I would suggest whoever you're conversing with, contact Chris Hester at, he's stormwater technician for the
Right,
for the
right.
county.
But-
Chris is our representative on the Limestone Valley Board.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is, this hasn't been released yet, the Limestone Valley Grant has not, but the contractors know about that, but not everyone else, the ones who need it.
I think Chad Mulkey, who is the health department guy that oversees the septic tanks, I think he's on that.
Hey, Mike,
Limestone Valley. And
I talked to somebody with Limestone Valley, and they said they weren't ready for a rollout.
Well, they may not be ready. I don't.
But if you've got contractors knowing something the public doesn't know, there could be some, anyway, that's what, I wanted to know what you guys knew about this.
Hasn't come before us as an agenda item for sure.
No, it wouldn't come
It
before
wouldn't,
us.
yeah. It goes to individuals.
Yeah, and I'm not on that Limestone Valley Committee anymore. That was several years ago.
Yes,
And I
sir.
think it runs every year.
Oh, well, that's good to know, because I know that some people need
And
help.
they use it to help people that,
Yeah, the only problem I would have with that is you have to pay everything up front and then carve it back. And not everybody has that ability to do that.
yeah, and repairs are more expensive than new most
They're-
of the time.
They are more expensive than beef or chickens, for that matter. Thank you very much.
Any other public comment?
Good evening.
Just your name and address. I know you, but just for the record.
Okay. Stacy Doran, 3213 Wright Road, Rocky Face. I was looking back at my notes. I think I was here in October speaking before you all. We had some conversations about the issues with our elections and the fact that we cannot verify and ensure the accurate count of our votes because the machines we use. And I felt like we had an exchange here, some interest, some conversations about options. And I quoted you two very clear pieces of code, 21.2.334, 21.2.366. 366 being the one that gives you all authority to utilize optical scanners in our elections, but I never heard back. So I'm kind of curious where we are, why I haven't heard back. Because essentially, if we can't know that our vote was counted accurately, then why would we trust elections? And I've expressed that before. But of importance is the fact that one county that we all have been made aware of in this state in 2022 that did a actual 100% recount of a single race, the race flipped, and that was DeKalb County. In our recent 2022 general election, and in others, the primary, I believe, maybe, I can't remember if we did them in a primary, but we did what's called a risk limiting audit. We counted 8% of the ballots. That's not, now, there are people in our state government, Secretary of State and everybody that believes that he's telling the truth, which I don't, say that's a proven statistical way to verify results, counting 8%. Well, the creator of that audit says, no, you can't. Not with the electronic voting machines can you use that risk limiting audit methodology to confirm and verify election results. And I also just wanted to point out the Dominion CEO spoke before our Secretary of State in the state election board meeting and said, you know how you can test our machines? Count the paper ballots. And don't tell me we're counting our ballots when we count 8% of them, because we're not. And then we talk about the CISA report on these machines that came out, I believe it was 2022, I can't remember the month. I shared that with you all. They document all the vulnerabilities of the machines, and in one of their, the way you mediate the risks, you count the paper ballots. So I'm asking this governing authority, what if 21-2-366, there's a lot of things I want to change. I want to change massively. No more machines, hand marked paper ballots, hand counted at the precincts. But one step in the right direction, maybe, if we can't get there as quick as I would like, is can we not throw optical scanners in those precincts that count them after the Dominion machine puts out its reports? So take those paper ballots out of that scanner at the precinct, feed them into this optical scanner, and let's just see how they match. I do want to hear back. I'd love some follow-up on that. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Hi, I'm Kenneth Quarles. I currently reside in Chatsworth at 2128 Old Federal Road South. And my wife and I recently bought the property surrounding Old Mitchell Bridge Road. So I was just going to let you guys know that we're here and see if you guys had any questions. I know it's not the hearing. Just want to make sure that everything's good to go on that.
Is it a dead end? Like, I don't know where it is. I'll
It's a dead end. So Old Mitchell Bridge used to be kind of the only way on that end of the county to get from Whitfield County to Murray County. It was replaced in, I think, the late 90s or early 2000s by the Witherow Bridge. So that's now how you would go down and cross 225 to like where the North Murray side is. We just recently bought the property. That section of the road has had a gate over it ever since it was closed. And it's our understanding that the previous owners thought that it had been abandoned, and there just was no record of it being abandoned. So it's not been traveled down, and it's a wreck. So, I would like to start cleaning it up, obviously, but I don't want to do that to y'all's road.
Right. Got it.
So,
Makes sense.
all right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I had the zoning petition, me and my wife.
Oh, just
to-
state your name and
My name is Josh Ashley, and my wife is Jessica. And we had this petition to change our land to light manufacturing, which I respect the state's position on zoning islands, and I understand that. But we have a business, it's in operation, and at this point, we'll have to close that business. Being that I've invested 2 years of my life, time, money, obviously a lot of advertising, a lot of people's gonna show up there next year, just in deer season alone. Wondering what route I take going forward if I purchase more property somewhere else. Is there a agency here?
Or even lease, if you can find the 5 acres of GA or more, then, you'll be in good shape. You don't even have to come before us again, in that case. So, but you need to find.
Do I not still need to get a special use permit for meat processing? That, and, just in, my question just being, want to make sure that I don't invest a lot of more money and time somewhere else and block there also by.
Yeah, your special use permit, it would be correct. You wouldn't have to rezone it, you just have to have that special use.
Okay,
You're right.
and is the probability of that?
I probably can't comment on that, I don't know.
You could,
I don't-
you could, get a contract if you're gonna buy
Pending
approval,
yeah, that'd be the safest.
That'd be the
Or
smartest
lease,
way.
even just
or
get a
even
lease.
a lease.
Okay. And you understand that, don't want to invest a lot of money and then hit a dead end here again, because I'm the CFO and the lawyer all at once running this stuff.
CEO, yeah.
Yes, everything when you run your own business. Thank you.
Any further comments, public comments? Anything else? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Commissioner Jones, we're adjourned.